We are here for this panel discussion on the topic being, is digital subscription the holy grail of digital news business? And here in India, we've had a fairly tectonic shift, perhaps perforce, because when the COVID-19 pandemic struck us, the printed form of newspapers were virtually out of circulation, and the digital wave has been here and now. And to discuss this, we have a panel of mixed forms of publications. We have Puneet Jain, who's CEO of HT Digital News. HT, for those of you who don't know, is Hindustan Times, one of the country's biggest newspaper groups in English and Hindi. And Puneet has been with HT Media as CEO. He was previously with the Paytm financial service, wallets, etc., as Senior Vice President Online Payments. So he knows ways to make money, and or at least handle it, where he spent about 6 years. Before that, Puneet was a consultant at Accenture and Diamond Management and Technology Consultants. He's an MBA from IIM Calcutta and also holds a BTech degree. We have here with us also Ragamalika Karthikeyan, who's editor, Special Projects and Experiments, The News Minute, one of my favorite websites, I must confess to you. Ragamalika heads the membership program at TNM, as it's called, and is keenly interested in following the great growth of reader-funded media in India, as we all are. As a partner at Innovation, Joa Senor, she has directed projects all over the world, helping news operations to reinvent their products and stay relevant with audiences. I'm sorry, I've got this wrong. So this is Ragamalika Karthikeyan. And then we have Priya Bubna, who is co-founder and CEO of the Morning Context. Priya is the promoter of Slow Form Private Limited, the publisher of Morning Context. For those of you who do not know, Morning Context is a premium news service which is served through email newsletter, exceedingly popular in the few years that it has been around. She's a chartered accountant and a graduate of the Shriram College of Commerce in New Delhi. Priya specializes in international taxation and transfer pricing, where she has assisted clients on transfer pricing planning, complex advisories, litigation, and representation across a broad range of industries. She has previously worked at EY and BMR Advisors. Litigation, I hope you don't have to use this very much so far, Priya. So I'm going to come to the topic. We've spoken a little bit in the past about in this afternoon with Siddharth Vadirajan, who spoke about premium newsletters, and we spoke about retaining subscribers with the gentleman from Germany. I'm going to come to you, Puneet, first. Since you are part of a legacy news provider. On this whole topic about digital subscription. Now, in terms of your entire revenue pie, your earnings pie, how important is digital subscription for you?
Sure. I think that's one of the ways of measuring it or looking at it, right? But let's say that's the way I see it. Before we, let's say, jump into the potential and the scale, right? Let's look at the backdrop of some of the larger digital trends in the news industry, right, in the country, right? So we have the digital news consumption, which has been growing over the years, continues to grow, right? But what especially happened over last 1 year, which is largely pandemic induced, right? We saw that time spent per user going up, right? So people are spending more and more time across devices on content consumption, including news, over the years, right? So essentially, more time per user, potentially leading to more opportunities for both advertising as well as subscription, right? What we also saw that the subscription models across the world, both globally and India, and of course, it's much more mature globally. They significantly strengthened, and everybody. So while for large players across the world, they went through a large growth curve, and this subscription is a large revenue stream for them now. For Indian publishers like us, it was a great opportunity for us to, let's say, significantly focus more resources towards it, right? And we saw potentially a strong adoption over last 1 year. So to your question on what is the, let's say, potential over here, I think as a proportion of total revenue, it's still going to be a relatively you can say a smaller number to begin with, but I think it has definitely potential to become a double-digit uh, percentage contribution in let's say in coming years. And more importantly, I think what it does is, right, it allows the various readers, the news readers to which we cater to, right, to self-select themselves, right? So if somebody is keen to, let's say, consume news and happy to pay for it, right, and then expect a certain level of experience, or let's say delivery format, etc., right, versus somebody, let's say, who would want to uh, let's say not pay for the news and hence essentially leave publishers to monetize by advertising, right? It kind of self selects. So I think that's how I see it. It essentially enables us to offer what the reader is looking for, right, and give a experience which takes care of their interest, which takes care of their objectives at the price which is comfortable to them. So, so yeah, that's how I see it. I think it's going to be a very, very important focus area for all publishers, including us at HT, and be a reasonable revenue driver as well. But its importance, I think, goes much beyond just being a revenue driver.
The moot point is a price comfortable to the customer, and we'll get to that. Ragamalika, you look after the membership program at the News Minute. Now, we all know News Minute has been serving content free of cost to subscribers. So, how much does the membership program mean to you, and what how much of the digital subscription base, how much of it is important to the entire News Minute business plan?
Right. Thanks, Pradyuman. I think, as Puneet said earlier, yes, it is sort of beyond revenue for us, also because we are very clear that it's not a subscription, right? It's not a give and take relationship. It's not you give me money, I give you content, and the relationship ends there. We are looking at a membership program. We are looking at building a community of news readers who are interested in our niche, which is news from South India, across the world, the global reader. So it is beyond just revenue for us, but also it's important. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that we're not doing this for revenue. Reader-funded news is sort of going to be the future, I feel, because if you look at the issues with politics in India, or the issues with advertising revenue, which went down pretty much for most media companies, but especially small media companies when COVID hit last year. So we all sort of realized that we can't be dependent solely on advertising for revenue. That's not going to work, and we need our readers to sort of come on board and say, I have a stake in this. I have a stake in independent media. I have a stake in the journalism that you're producing, and therefore I'm going to pay for it. Now, of course, as a small media organization, we're not a legacy organization to say that we're going behind a paywall and then there are going to be like lakhs of people who are going to come and say, okay, I'm going to pay for your news. We're not sure if that is going to work for us right now, right? Like, I don't know if people in India can afford, especially with the pandemic, the economic situation. It wasn't just for the media the economic situation went poorly. If a lot of people can't afford news, and especially in a scenario where we see so much like fake news, where we see so much misinformation and disinformation going around, so there needs to be a sort of a balance between, are we sort of going to prioritize revenue over the core of the work that we do, which is to do good journalism, that is for public good, journalism that is going to reach as many people as possible? Or are we going to say, no, this is a business and therefore the revenue is what matters, and therefore we're going behind the paywall, and only if you can afford? And then you can say that, you can pay me 5,000 rupees a year or 2,000 rupees a year or whatever, and only if you can afford that can you read my content. So that's a difficult decision for a general news organization to make, especially when we are dealing with the reality of this country. So right now, I would say membership is obviously it's like less than a year old, our membership program. So in terms of share of revenue, I wouldn't want to go there. It's not a very big part of our revenue at the moment, but we do hope that it will change this year and in the coming years. So we are hoping that this is going to become a big part of how we become sustainable, because again, once readers decide that they want to support you, no matter what changes, there are going to be enough people who will be able to afford that, who will be able to keep us sustainable. And that's sort of where we are, what we are looking at.
Priya, let me come to you. You know, among the three of you here, your platform is the newest of them all, but you are pay from day one, right? So, and people are willing to pay for your content, and clearly that's how things have worked. So tell me, what has worked in your favor? What is it that gets you subscribers, new subscribers signing on every day, and what ensures that they stick to you? Because you're clearly not the only player in the business. There are other people around also who provide a similar kind of service. So opening remarks from you, and then we'll get on to other questions.
Thanks, Pradibal. So, I mean, clearly at TMC, our philosophy has been very, very simple, that we're going to go behind the paywall from day one. And that's what we did, because we believe that there are readers who would want to pay for the kind of content we do. So there are two things that we've focused on, and we're only a 16-month-old company right now, so fairly new in that matter. And I mean, 2 months into launching, COVID also struck. So in that sense, we were a little worried about how things would go, but luckily, it's actually been great. And I think complete points to two things that we did in a very, very focused manner. Number one is our editorial, which we ensured from day one was strong, and the quality of content that we put out across the three themes that we write on, which is business, internet, and chaos. We ensured that that is top notch, and there was absolutely no compromise in that. We started, and when we started as a 4-story a week kind of model, and we said that whatever we ship out, it is going to be the best out there. So that was one thing which was really our focus area. The second that we did was, we wanted to obviously ensure that we onboard as many people, as many subscribers, as many users that we can. And clearly the psyche of users are very, very different. I mean, we've seen the shift from traditional newspaper to digital businesses. We've seen businesses which are free to read as well as behind the paywall, and we've seen how consumers are now have a lot of choices in front of them, and it's kind of confusing as to which media outlet do you opt for, that's going to serve your reading needs. So very early on, we also got supported by Google News Initiative, where last year we launched something that we called our credits pack. So there are always these set of people who are either looking for a free trial, or they want to get onto your platform and sort of sample what you do. And that's the idea that we really hit the nail on, and we said that we're going to sell you not just our annual or a quarterly plan, but we're going to sell you a small sachet pack with a certain number of coins, and you can just use that to read whatever story you want. So we kind of came on board with a pay as you read model right in our 9th or 10th month of operation. We've not even completed a year then. And I think that's really, really hit it off for us. So I think these are the two things that really worked well. One, no compromise on editorial. Stories have to be top notch. And second, our approach towards readers. We are someone who's behind the paywall. At the same time, we want to give everyone the option to come and read or commit to our product in their own convenience, in their own manner.
I'm going to come to you, Pradeep, Puneet. In terms of, the fact of the matter is that you have a news minute which is still trying to build a reader base because it is new. Priya with Morning Context is, of course, they've gone in from on the pay behind a paywall for his subscription, for his readership. But HT is a legacy product. It's been there for years around. So why this hesitation to go the whole hog into charging the reader for content, whether it is for e-paper subscription, which has now been there, but clearly all the content is available free of cost on the website. You are on mute, Puneet.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Pradyuman. So I think interesting question, and I think if you see how over last 1 year we have significantly enhanced our focus on subscription-based product, right? So we started off by launching a metered paywall-based subscription on Mint, our business platform. Then we moved on to launch e-paper based subscription for on HT, HindustanTimes.com, our flagship English daily, and Hindustan, our Hindi news platform, right? And now I think I don't know again how many of you've noticed, but we launched a ad light version on Mint. So essentially, we have increased the value proposition for user for just, let's say, started charging on some after a consumption of a particular user, a particular you can say volume of content. We have now offered them a complete ad light experience for distraction free reading, which anybody should, which a lot of users are welcoming it. And also in the process, we have now launched dynamic propensity paywall, where we are, let's say, using our technologies, and that's where significant investment have happened from our side over last year or so. We are introducing paywalls basis different consumer behavior, consumer personas, right? So I think one for let's say a legacy publisher like us, where we are catering to millions of users. I mean, 150 million users come to our platform every month, and obviously not all of them, let's say, would be willing to pay for it. So opportunities for us are slightly different from, let's say, other niche providers. For us, it is being able to offer paid news in the manner to the right user in which he or she appreciates and willing to pay for it, while at the same time ensure that the basic content and, let's say, the popular news that is available for all users to consume. And we are creating these different, let's say, technology based interventions to identify those segments. I think that's the journey we're trying to take, and I feel very, very confident as well as humbled by the growth we have seen over the last 1 year. And I think what will continue to happen is we'll see more and more such models being experimented in future. For example, already I think on Mint we have started creating freemium articles. So some articles are permanently behind the paywall, irrespective of your content consumption, and there are some interventions lined up on HT and Hindustan as well. So yeah, so I think since the opportunities are different for both set of publishers, and I believe all of us will have to figure out the right, let's say, fit which takes care of the audience we are aiming for, maximizes the, let's say, the share of digital news readers. At the same time, let's say, build upon our editorial legacy and credibility, which we are known for.
No, my concern is, Puneet, that you all are the big boys in the business, right? Or the big players in the business, to be politically correct. Why is it that it's taking so much time when you have young players like Morning Context and News Minute getting into the whole thing? If you all don't do it, how will the industry mature?
Well, I think interesting one. I think, see, the way I see it, to be able to build a large, sustainable, and scalable subscription business, there are broadly, let's say, three areas one must, let's say, excel. One is, of course, content. As Priya mentioned, you have to have the right content, high quality content, which users are willing to pay for. Second is the audience. You have to figure out the right cohorts, or you can say readers you are going after, right? And third is technology. I think these three go hand in hand. And I think again, for let's say for legacy players like us, this third one has been a challenge historically. And this is where I think, at least as HT, we have done significant investment over last couple of years and are in a position right now to offer this, you can say, superlative user experience with the ability to let's say created segmented stories, segmented, let's say, content, personalized content which users are willing to pay for, and the user experience which is delightful. I think this is where again, in my candid assessment, that's where one area we have been lacking. And now that we have done, let's say, the necessary steps, we are in a position to leapfrog and make subscription, let's say, a very strong revenue driver for us.
Raghav, what is your view? What do you think is why hasn't it? You've got into the membership business for the last year odd. Why isn't it moving fast enough? Why isn't when a host of people are digital natives? Why is it that it's taking so much time still to happen?
Right. I think the answer that pretty much everybody across the world has in the news industry is we gave it away for free from the beginning. So it's difficult to change that behavior and get people to sort of start paying for content. And the pandemic was an opportunity, you guys said earlier, a lot of people came online, spent more time online. But I myself would rather take a subscription for Netflix and Hotstar and Amazon Prime and Z5 and a bunch of other entertainment content. I mean, we are in the business of sort of getting people's time and attention. So if you have to get people's time and attention, you're playing against so many people who are giving you, who are giving you sort of probably a better experience when you're in that, is somebody in my family going to fall sick? Is somebody going to be like, what are the problems that I'm facing? So, news is not happy in that sense, right? We're not sort of enriching people's lives in entertainment ways. So in that space, when there is so much content out there, when you can just click and go anywhere, and the news business on the internet, digital news, has been free forever. So for people, the first question people ask is, if I can read news on the Hindu for free or on Hindustan Times for free, then why should I pay you? So the answer for us as independent small media houses is that, you know what, we understand that no, not everyone can pay for news, but we still feel, we have about 11 to 13 million unique users every month on the site. And even if a small percentage of those people were able to afford it, were able to sort of subsidize news for other people, but also pay for special content. We have an ad-free experience for our members. We have a special forum space. We are serious when we say that we want to build a global news community. So we are working towards that. That is what sort of enriches you. How can I provide value to you beyond what you're used to for free, right? Obviously, I can't be beating Facebook, or I can't beat Twitter, but I can give you what Twitter and Facebook can't give you. I can give you a space where there is no hate. I can give you a space where people are not going to come and constantly abuse you. So that's sort of something that we are working towards. And our newsletter products are also sort of more analysis based. Our journalism is free on the site, and this is probably what you would call freemium, but still, this is the kind of content that you're not going to get elsewhere. This is the kind of content that you are going to come to us for. So that's what we are focusing on. And it's difficult. It's difficult to sort of say, you've been getting this for free all your life, and suddenly you have to pay for it. And then there are so many players in the business. So who are you going to turn to, right?
Priya, but you've players like yourself, of course, you are providing just one story a day, and in that sense, you are premium in that sense. But clearly, from whatever Puneet said, the emphasis is on content. And how do you ensure that you have that content every day, day in and day out? You ensure that the focus stays on the content, because clearly you got it right, where some of the bigger legacy players haven't, or they're just about getting into it.
Pradyuman, so I mean, I would say this again, that our focus has always been to create content that we can differentiate from the others. And I heard Puneet and I heard Ragamalika also. There are so many players out there, and who do you want to be, and how do you differentiate yourselves from them? So I would say that our editorial in that sense is very, very strong, and we take extra steps to ensure that the team, as it grows larger, we have a certain strategy, a certain plan in terms of what kind of additions we want to make to the team, and what kind of deep coverage that we want to do. So in that sense, I think our focus will always be on keeping our editorial really, really strengthening it as we go along, and going deeper into the three areas that we covered around internet business and chaos. I would have loved for my editor to answer this question, but I think complete faith.
But tell me, is it? I'm going to ask you this question: is it that a player like yourself, who's newer, you are able to do things which other legacy players are not able to do, because of the fact that you don't really have to worry about various shareholder compulsions?
So two things, Pradyuman, and from a business side, I can answer this. I do believe that for probably a lot of larger players, the cost structure, would probably be a big, big problem in terms of sustaining a digital subscription kind of model. The earlier ways where ad revenue really filled in your coffers, and that was your primary source of income, and then you could subsidize the cost of your journalism, is not going to work anymore. And as the ad revenues are going down, your income from subscription is not really rising at the same rate. So there is some sort of imbalance here. The revenue is not really going up, but the cost is really sitting fat there. So what do? You've got to work something on the cost, and take care of that. So from that point of view, as a new company where we don't really have any baggage of the past, we've ensured that our cost is really, really lean, and in that sense, the functioning of the company is efficient, and we are there.
I'm going to ask a few questions. We are really running out of time since we just had half an hour. But there's a question which has come from Venkat Srinivasan, who asks, can anyone share some numbers, like number of free users and number of paid users? The ratio is also okay if you don't want to give absolute numbers. Puneet, would you hazard that?
I think as much as I can share, right? So I think, first of all, I think for a scale platform like us, probably these ratios are not the most relevant ones. The way we see it is the number of users whom we are able to convert from, let's say, a loyal user to a paid user, right? Because a lot of users who are just, let's say, coming from search, etc., and not really the most ardent follower of your news offering, right? And from that ratio perspective, I think that's where I think we are able to do good progress. Our objective is, currently we are at, let's say, single digit percentage conversion. Our objective is to move it to double digit. I think that's where we are looking at. I think this ratio would be significantly, and again, different players, for example, I'm sure TMC would view it very differently, because they are only a subscriber only platform. So hence it's a much different, let's say, funnel for them. But yeah, to answer your question, the way we see it, number of loyal users that we have, which are essentially people reading beyond a certain number of pages on our platform every month, what percentage of them we are able to convert to paid user is how we measure. And that's into early, let's say, we will aim to, let's say, aim for double digit conversion in some time. That's what.
Priya, a question for you. Could you offer a comment on your strategy of privilege credits?
Yeah, so Pradyuman, we actually have two different plans around credits, and we call it the starter and the privilege credits. And I want to talk a little about that also. The starter credit is basically for anyone who wants to come and have a look at what is the kind of work that we do, and wants to have some sort of trial, or wants to probably read some of our stories and understand if this is the content that is meant for them or not. So what we do is, the moment someone lands on our website, we deposit a certain number of credits, which we call starter credits, to that person's account. And we have a curated set of about 30 or 40 stories that we have on our website, which we call our set of stories. And in that sense, we offer a trial to that person, where you can simply come on the website and use your starter credits to come in and read and engage with us. So to begin with, that was one of our early strategies on how we want to get people onto our website, to take a look at what we do, to see what is the content that we write, and see if this is what they are looking for in terms of reading. That's one set. The second set of people that we have are our privileged credit users. So very early on, we also realized that not everyone is a very, very frequent user, or there are people who probably focus only on a certain segment. So probably you just want to read about what's happening in fintech, or you're more clued into business, public listed companies, where you want to read about what's happening there. So that's where we said that we want to get those kind of users also on the board, and which is when our privilege credits, which is where our privilege credits really help us to engage with those kind of users. So, I mean, in terms of numbers, we have a good amount of about 45 to 50,000 people who engage with us on an everyday basis, either by way of our credits or through our regular, quarterly, monthly, or annual plans.
45 to 50,000 users is an amazing number for a 16-month content offering, given the fact that in a country like India, people are not really willing to pay for content, as many of us discovered. But clearly, for a digital native like myself, and for somebody who wants this business to grow, we have to ensure that people are there. They pay as much for content as they pay for the hot dog or a vada pav, as I said earlier. So let's hope that happens, and all the best to all of us. Thank you very much. I know we would have gone on discussing this. It's a very important and pertinent issue in the entire news space that exists now. All the best to all of us, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradyuman.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Pradyuman.